Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something I've learned, not from a textbook, but from the school of life. Mornings, they're more than just the beginning of the day. They are the foundation, the blueprint. The launch pad. See, every successful day starts with a successful morning, and every successful life, well, it's just a collection of successful days. So if you want to build a better life, don't start with the decade. Start with the dawn. Now I know. When that alarm goes off, your bed feels like it has a gravitational pull of 1,000 suns. But here's the truth. How you start sets the tone for everything that follows. If you own the morning, you gain leverage over the rest of the day. Let me break this down into a few ideas. Ideas that changed my life. Maybe they'll change yours too. Discipline begins with rising early. That simple idea holds more power than most people ever realize. Waking up early isn't just about getting out of bed before the sun rises. It's about mastering the first decision of the day, about saying yes to structure and no to sloppiness. It's about telling your body that your mind is in charge. You see, when you choose to rise early, you're doing more than setting your alarm. You're setting a standard. Most people let the morning take them by surprise. They wake up when the clock says they have to. They roll out of bed in a fog, already behind, already chasing the day. That's not discipline. That's survival. Discipline means you rise before you have to. You don't wait for life to wake you up. You get up because you decided to. The difference is subtle, but it separates the people who live on offense from those who live on defense. Those who lead the day versus those who react to it. Now, let me be clear, it's not just about the hour on the clock. Rising early doesn't mean you're better just because you're up at 4 a.m. It's not a competition of who can lose the most sleep. No, it's about building the habit of choosing effort over comfort, especially when no one is watching. That's where the seed of discipline is planted, not when it's convenient, but when it's cold, dark, and quiet, and you'd rather stay in bed. In those early hours, there are no distractions, no phone calls, no deadlines, no noise, just silence, and in that silence you find clarity. Your thoughts are sharp, your focus is high, and most importantly, your willpower is strongest. You haven't yet been pulled in 1,000 directions. Your mind is still yours. This is why so many high performers guard their mornings like treasure, because they know what it gives them. It gives them control, and control is the root of all discipline. You can't control everything that happens during your day, but you can control how it begins. And when you start with intention, the rest of the day tends to fall in line. The act of rising early trains more than just your sleep schedule. It trains your character. It tells your inner self, I'm willing to do what's hard, even when no one's watching. That kind of commitment builds internal strength, and internal strength is what you lean on when life gets hard, which it always does. People often ask, how do I build discipline? They're looking for some trick or shortcut, but discipline isn't something you download. It's something you practice, and the morning is your training ground. Every time you resist the comfort of your warm bed, every time you push back against laziness, you're building the muscle of self-respect. You're proving to yourself that you can do what you said you would do. And over time, that consistency pays off, not just in how early you wake up, but in how early you act in life. People with discipline don't wait for inspiration to strike. They create momentum through action. And that action usually starts before the rest of the world even opens its eyes. There's something else. Rising early builds confidence. Not the loud, flashy kind. The quiet, deep-rooted kind. The kind that says, I've already done something difficult today, so I'm ready for whatever comes next. That's the confidence that wins long term. It's not based on how you feel, but on what you've proven to yourself. Now, I'm not saying waking up early will solve all your problems. It won't. But it will put you in a position to solve them better. It gives you time to think, time to move, time to reflect, time to plan. And when you stack enough of those mornings together, you start to see a different kind of life forming, one that's not rushed. Not reactive, not random, but thoughtful, grounded, purposeful, and the best part, it's available to everyone. You don't need special skills. You don't need money. All you need is the willingness to choose discomfort over convenience, progress over pleasure, intention over impulse. That's discipline, and it all begins with the simple, powerful act of rising early. A strong morning builds a strong mind. That's not just a motivational phrase, it's a daily truth repeated in the quiet routines of successful people around the world. When you begin your day with strength, with purpose, with clarity, you begin to train the most powerful tool you have, your mind. And once the mind is strong, everything else in life begins to follow. The morning isn't just another part of the day. It's the beginning of everything. It's the first moment you choose between chaos and control, between reaction and direction. And those choices, small as they may seem, shape the architecture of your mindset. A scattered morning leads to a scattered mind, but a deliberate morning that builds mental muscle. Your mind is like a garden. Whatever you plant, that's what grows. But here's the problem. Most people wake up and start planting weeds. They reach for their phone, scroll through bad news, check emails, dive into noise before they've even had a moment to check in with themselves. That's not a garden. It's a battlefield. The mind hasn't even had time to wake up, and already it's under attack. But imagine this instead. You wake up, not to the chaos of the world, but to calm, to breathe, to thought. You start your day with intention. Whether it's reading, journaling, meditating, praying, walking, or simply sitting in silence. You create a space where the mind can stretch and grow, free from distractions. That's when strength is built, not in noise, but in discipline, not in urgency, but in clarity. The strongest minds don't come from the loudest voices. They come from the quietest disciplines, the little things repeated daily, a few minutes of gratitude, a few pages of wisdom, a few moments of stillness. These aren't just habits, they are mental training. They sharpen focus, deepen resilience, and remind you that you are in charge of your perspective, no matter what the day throws at you. A strong morning teaches the mind one of its most important lessons. Asterisk, you are not your thoughts, asterisk. You are the observer, the architect, the director, and when you start your day by directing your thoughts instead of drowning in them, you start to reclaim authority over your inner world. That authority turns into confidence. That confidence turns into peace. That peace turns into power. Your mind, like your body, needs conditioning, and the morning is the perfect gym. You lift mental weights when you choose reading over scrolling. You run mental laps when you choose reflection over reaction. You stretch your thinking when you ask, what do I want from today? Instead of, what does the world want from me? These small acts, these invisible victories, build a mind that doesn't bend at the first sign of pressure. When your morning is strong, your decisions improve, your focus sharpens, your patience increases. You don't get pulled in 10 directions by everyone else's agenda. You set your own, and that sense of control isn't just satisfying, it's vital. Because a mind that doesn't feel in control becomes anxious, distracted, defeated, but a mind that knows it's steering the ship, that mind is dangerous in the best possible way. Even in difficult seasons, when life is uncertain or heavy, a strong morning becomes your anchor. It becomes the place where you reconnect with purpose. You remember who you are, you gather your thoughts, you prepare your inner world before stepping into the outer one, and that preparation, done consistently, builds mental toughness. The kind of toughness that doesn't crumble under stress, the kind that doesn't need perfect conditions to perform. People talk a lot about mental health these days, and rightly so, but the foundation of mental health isn't just therapy or support, it's also routine. A strong morning routine acts like a protective shield for your mind. It keeps out the unnecessary and brings in the essential. It gives structure to your thoughts, rhythm to your emotions, and strength to your convictions. The world doesn't slow down for anyone, but you can slow down for yourself, especially in the morning. That pause, that preparation, it's a message to your brain. You matter, your time matters, your energy matters. And when your mind hears that enough times, it starts to believe it. And a mind that believes it matters doesn't waste itself on pettiness, comparison, or distraction. It focuses, it builds, it leads. That's the mind you want in charge, and it starts with how you begin each day. Routine creates rhythm. Rhythm builds momentum. This simple truth is one of the most underestimated forces in personal development. Most people are chasing motivation, waiting for the right moment, the right mood, or the right energy. But those who understand the real game don't chase anything. They build rhythm, and they build that rhythm through routine. A good routine isn't a prison, it's a foundation. It's the structure that frees you from decision fatigue, from distraction, from drift. When you know what comes next, your mind can focus on execution instead of hesitation. It removes the friction. It removes the randomness. You're no longer debating with yourself every morning about whether you'll show up. You've already decided. The decision was made yesterday and the day before that. Rhythm is born out of that repetition. Like music, it starts slow and steady, a few notes, a few movements, but over time, as you stick with it, a tempo develops. You don't have to think so hard. You don't have to push so hard. The steps become smoother. You hit your stride. That's rhythm. And once rhythm shows up, momentum isn't far behind. Momentum is a beautiful thing. It turns average days into productive ones. It makes hard tasks feel easier. It takes what used to require effort and turns it into instinct. But here's the catch, Mo. Momentum never shows up on day one. It doesn't come after one good morning or one clean habit. It shows up after consistency, after enough reps, after enough mornings when you showed up even when you didn't feel like it. This is where routine matters most. It keeps you moving through the resistance. It pulls you through the valleys of low motivation and distraction. When you have a strong routine, you don't need to feel inspired. You just need to follow the rhythm you've already created. You wake up and you know the steps. You act and the results follow. That's how momentum is built, through ordinary actions repeated with extraordinary discipline. Think about an athlete training for a championship. They don't wake up wondering if they'll practice today. They don't wait to see if the mood strikes them. They follow a routine. They've built a rhythm. And because of that rhythm, they make progress day after day, even when it's not visible, even when it's not exciting. Over time, those small daily wins compound. That's momentum at work, and it works in every area of life. You want to write a book, build a routine. You want to get in shape, build a routine. You want to improve your mindset, your relationships, your finances. It starts with a rhythm, not once in a while, not when it's convenient, daily, consistently, unapologetically, and the beauty of it is that it doesn't need to be complicated. A few simple steps repeated every morning can change the direction of your entire life. The danger of living without routine is that you start each day in chaos. You wake up reacting. You burn energy on unnecessary decisions. You get pulled into distractions before you've even had time to think. And by the time the day is halfway through, you feel like you're behind. That's not a lack of energy. It's a lack of rhythm. When your life has rhythm, everything flows better, your thoughts are clearer, your priorities are sharper, your actions are more aligned, and the more you stay in that rhythm, the more you trust yourself. That trust creates confidence, and that confidence fuels even more momentum. It becomes a cycle, but a good one, a cycle that lifts you up instead of dragging you down. People often ask how to get out of a rut, how to regain focus, how to feel motivated again. The answer isn't found in some emotional breakthrough. It's found in small routines, in waking up at the same time, in moving your body, in reviewing your goals, in giving your mind space to think before the world comes rushing in. Those actions seem small in the moment, but over time they generate something powerful, rhythm. And here's the secret. Once rhythm and momentum take over, they do most of the heavy lifting. What used to take willpower now takes habit. What used to feel like effort now feels like motion. You're no longer pushing the boulder uphill. You're running with it. That's the power of a routine that's been honored, protected, and repeated until it becomes your default. That's how rhythm is created, and that's how momentum changes everything. A morning routine helps you master your emotions before the world tries to manipulate them. Every day, the moment you wake up, the world starts reaching for your attention. Notifications, news, messages, noise. It all arrives before you've even had a chance to breathe. If you're not grounded, you get pulled into it, and once you're pulled into it, you're not responding to life, you're reacting to it. That's the difference between a person in control and a person being controlled. When you begin your day without intention, you hand your emotions over to chance. You open your eyes, reach for your phone, and the first thing you see might determine your mood. A headline, a comment, an email. You're already responding emotionally to something outside yourself. That's not discipline, that's vulnerability. And too many people are living that way, letting the external world dictate their internal state before they've had a moment to decide how they want to feel. But when you build a morning routine, you reclaim that decision. You step into your day with a grip on your emotions instead of being dragged around by them. You begin by choosing what enters your mind and heart. You create a buffer between yourself and the chaos. That buffer gives you time to think, to breathe, to align. It's not about ignoring the world, it's about preparing yourself to face it. Mastering your emotions isn't about suppressing them. It's about becoming aware of them. A morning routine gives you that space, time to notice what you're feeling, time to sit with it, process it, understand it. Whether you do that through journaling, quiet reflection, exercise, or stillness, it becomes a practice of emotional awareness. You check in with yourself before checking in with the rest of the world. That habit, done daily, builds emotional intelligence, and emotional intelligence leads to emotional strength. The strongest people aren't the ones who never feel overwhelmed. They're the ones who know how to return to center. They've practiced it. They've built the muscle, and that practice often starts in the morning. It starts with saying, "Before I give my energy away, I will take care of my state." That kind of clarity is rare. But it's powerful, because once you've taken care of your state, you show up differently. You're not reactive. You're calm. You're not triggered. You're aware. You're not unstable. You're focused. We all carry emotional residue from the past. Some of it is heavy, some of it lingers, and if we're not careful, we bring that residue into each new day. A strong morning routine acts like a filter. It helps you process what's yours to carry and what's time to let go. It helps you reset. It reminds you that every day is a new opportunity, not a continuation of yesterday's chaos. Without that reset, you're just dragging the same emotional baggage into a fresh timeline. The world rewards emotional strength. Leaders, visionaries, creators, those who influence others do so not because they never feel anything, but because they know how to handle what they feel. They don't let emotion hijack their decisions. They've trained themselves to observe before reacting. That training often happens early in the day, when the mind is quietest and most impressionable. The way you spend that time teaches your nervous system how to operate under pressure. When your routine includes emotional check-ins, gratitude, reflection, or intention setting, you are essentially programming your inner environment. You are telling your emotions, "You work for me. I don't work for you." That changes everything. Because a person who leads their emotions leads their life. A person who waits to be in a good mood before acting is a slave to circumstance. But a person who creates their emotional state, that person becomes unshakable. Distractions test your focus. People test your patience. Challenges test your resilience. If you wait until you're in the middle of the storm to manage your emotions, it's too late. The work has to be done before the world gets loud. That's the gift of morning. It's the one part of the day where you get to choose silence over noise, control over chaos, intention over reaction. It's not just about getting more done, it's about becoming more stable, more grounded, more centered. The emotions you carry into the day affect everything: your decisions, your conversations, your confidence. If you begin the day anxious, you see problems everywhere. If you begin it peaceful, you see solutions. Your state is a lens, and your morning routine is the one opportunity you have to clean that lens before you look through it. Success is nothing more than a few simple disciplines practiced every day. That's the truth most people miss while they search for the secret formula or the big breakthrough. It's not hidden in some grand event or extraordinary talent. It's found in the quiet, consistent application of discipline, especially in the early hours of the day. That's where it begins, that's where it builds. Your morning routine is where you shape your direction, sharpen your focus, and establish the small victories that stack up to create something great. Discipline is not punishment, it's alignment. It's when your actions line up with your values, your vision, and your goals. It's choosing what matters over what's easy. And the beautiful part is that discipline isn't something you're born with, it's something you build. Like a muscle, it grows stronger the more you use it. And the best time to train that muscle is in the morning, before the distractions, before the demands, before the excuses. Each morning is a fresh start, a new opportunity to lead yourself. And the way you begin tells your mind who's in charge. If you hit the snooze button, skip the essentials, and jump straight into reaction mode, you're telling yourself that comfort is more important than growth. But if you rise with purpose, follow through on what you said you'd do, and claim those early hours with intention, you're reinforcing the identity of a disciplined person. That identity becomes a habit. That habit becomes your character, and your character determines your destiny. Most people think they lack motivation when what they really lack is structure. They wait to feel inspired before taking action. But discipline doesn't wait. Discipline acts regardless of feeling. That's why a morning routine is so powerful. It's a system that removes emotion from the equation. You don't need to debate with yourself. You don't need to feel like doing it. You just do it because it's who you are. And over time, that simple decision to act in the morning without negotiation trains your mind to follow through the rest of the day. Discipline in the morning creates confidence, not the loud, arrogant kind, the quiet, steady kind, the kind that says, I trust myself to do what I said I'd do. When you keep that promise to yourself, whether it's waking up early, moving your body, reading, meditating, or planning your priorities, you start to believe in your own word, and there's nothing more powerful than self-trust. Because when you trust yourself, you don't need to chase validation. You don't need to wait for someone else to motivate you. You become your own source of strength. Success isn't built in the spotlight. It's built in those early, unseen moments where nobody's watching. It's built in the choice to stay consistent even when it's inconvenient. It's built in the decision to prioritize discipline over comfort. Those small decisions seem insignificant in the moment, but over time they compound. Just like money in a savings account, those daily deposits of discipline grow, and eventually, the interest starts paying off in the form of results. Your morning routine doesn't need to be complex. It just needs to be intentional. It needs to serve your values, your goals, and your growth. 5 minutes of clarity is better than an hour of confusion. 10 minutes of focus is better than 2 hours of distraction. It's not about checking boxes. It's about shaping yourself, because each time you follow through, you reinforce the belief that you're a person who can be counted on. That belief changes how you walk into your day. It changes how you handle pressure. It changes how you lead others. Discipline in the morning spills over into everything else. It affects how you communicate, how you work, how you show up in relationships. It keeps you steady when life throws curveballs. It anchors you when things get noisy. And when others are thrown off course, you stay grounded, not because you're special, but because you've trained. You've rehearsed those quiet moments of resolve so often that now they're automatic. And what's automatic becomes unstoppable. You can't control every outcome, but you can control your input. You can control your preparation. You can control your attitude. And the best way to do that is to start your day with discipline. Because when you own the morning, you don't just prepare for success. You prove to yourself that you're worthy of it. And when you believe you're worthy of success, you begin to attract it, chase it, and eventually create it through the power of consistent, disciplined action. A strong morning routine protects your time before the world tries to steal it. Every day, the clock starts ticking the moment you open your eyes, and from that point on, everybody wants a piece of you. Your inbox wants attention. Social media wants attention. Deadlines, meetings, clients, problems. They all want something. And if you haven't claimed your time before the world gets to it, you'll find yourself running, not leading, reacting, not deciding, surviving, not creating. That's the danger of starting your day without boundaries. If the world gets to you before you get to yourself, you lose the most important battle, the battle for control. And the irony is, most people don't even realize they've lost it. They wake up late, rush through the motions, skip the essentials, and dive straight into noise. It becomes normal, and what's normal starts to feel right, even when it's completely wrong. But if you want to do something uncommon with your life, you can't follow a common pattern. You've got to build a different rhythm. That rhythm starts in the morning. Our time is the most valuable currency you have. It's more precious than money, because once it's gone, it doesn't come back. You can always earn more dollars. You can't earn more hours. So if you're giving your first and freshest hours to the noise, you're bankrupting your potential before the day has even begun. That's why a solid morning routine is more than just a habit. It's a shield. It's a line in the sand that says, this time is mine, this is where I prepare, this is where I build. You can't pour from an empty cup, yet many people try. They try to lead, serve, solve, create, inspire, without first filling their own reservoir. But if your schedule starts with everybody else's demands, your cup doesn't stand a chance. It gets drained before you've taken your first sip. A morning routine gives you space to fill it back up. Whether that's through silence, movement, reflection, or learning, it's about claiming the time before it's consumed by the world's appetite, and the world will consume it, make no mistake. If you don't plan your time, someone else will. And their plan will serve their agenda, not yours. That's why mornings are sacred. It's the one part of the day where you still have control. Before the emails start, before the meetings begin, before the emergencies pop up. In those early hours, there's a window where the world is quiet. In that quiet, you can think clearly, act deliberately, and focus deeply. You don't need hours, you just need intention. Intentional mornings lead to intentional days. And intentional days lead to an intentional life. When you train yourself to own those first moments, you stop letting the world dictate your rhythm. You begin to set the tone, set the pace, and set the priorities. You stop chasing time and start directing it. You stop being a victim of the calendar and start becoming the architect of your day. That's a powerful shift, and it's a shift that begins with one simple decision: to protect your time like it matters, because it does. People often talk about balance, about managing time better, about reducing stress. But the solution isn't always to do less, it's to do first what matters most. And that first is your morning. When you protect that space, you give yourself the gift of clarity before confusion, preparation before pressure, and focus before frenzy. You build a foundation, and once the foundation is strong, the rest of the day can be built upon it without crumbling. Discipline is the gatekeeper of freedom. The more disciplined you are with your time in the morning, the more freedom you create throughout the day. Freedom to focus, freedom to say no, freedom to be present. People think freedom means doing whatever you want, but true freedom means having the strength to do what you should, even when distractions call your name. That strength is cultivated in the hours no one sees. And once you've tasted that kind of freedom, you won't trade it for anything. It's not about being rigid, it's about being ready. It's about preparing yourself mentally, physically, and emotionally to walk into the day like it belongs to you. Because if you don't claim it, someone else will. And once your time is gone, it's gone. So when you build a morning routine, you're not just checking off habits. You're protecting your most sacred resource. You're drawing a line between what you control and what you don't. You're saying, before the world gets my attention, I'll give it to myself. And that simple act, done consistently, rewires your relationship with time.